Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Scott Janney, your host with the most or the least. But this is Biztainment Weekly, your weekly podcast on all things business. I am super excited about today's show because we have someone all the way from Dubai. And I did check the hours. It's about an 8-hour difference. So really excited to have Sallyann on the show. But before we do that, we like to always thank our sponsor, Magazine Jukebox, your digital magazine rack for commercial spaces. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have the podcast. Also, right now, we're going to roll right into what we like to call our LinkedIn moment. And the LinkedIn moment, if you don't know, is the point of the show where we get to talk about positive things that are posted on LinkedIn. And what I like to always tell my friends and family and contacts, if you don't want your post mentioned, then don't be my friend, because you don't know who I'm going to pick and you don't know which post I'm going to share. But I'm certainly going to do my best to bring on some very positive posts. So I'm going to start with my friends over at the Modern Hotelier. And if you don't know, they have a podcast also. So hello, fellow podcasters. And they do a really good job with hospitality in the hotel industry. And they put on a Flashback Friday and it says, are you looking to create better guest experience? And so Bashar was on their show, and it says talks about how it starts with the culture of your hotel, and your culture starts by how you treat each other. And then there's a tag in here that says, at the end of the day, we all live and die at the guest experience. And I can't agree with that more. Your guest experience is so important, so important. It's got to be top tier importance. And that's why over at Magazine Jukebox, we have a chief experience officer, Mr. Bronson Carroll. He does a great job with that. So okay, and so now on to our next post. My buddy Jerry Ackers, he is huge into franchises, and he shared, or he liked a post which brought it to my attention. It says accuracy is important. Well, actually, this was posted by Jeremy Dyer, and it says accuracy is important, but it's but it's the realm of mistakes where real growth happens. In our quest for perfection, we often forget that the path to success is paved with failures and setbacks. Now, the post goes on a little bit longer, but I just love that. It is our quest for perfection. We often forget that path to success is paved with failures. That is so amazingly true. So, hey, great post. And it looks like it's a picture of looks like a son and a father maybe doing some championship shooting. So it's really neat. So, okay, well, that's the LinkedIn moment. Completely wrapped up here, and that was those are great, easy posts. But now, the most important part of the show, the absolute most important part of the show, is our guest, and Sallyann. And let me make sure I'm saying this right. Sallyann Della Casa. Am I saying that right? Oh, that was spot on. All right. Been practicing. But we are super excited to have you on the show. Thank you, Sallyann, for coming on the show all the way from Dubai.
I know. And listen, thank you so much for having me, Scott Janney.
Jeanette.
Did I say
Oh,
that?
you
Did I
got it
say
right. Yeah, you got it right. Hey, that's
that?
good. In a week from now, we'll probably say it wrong and we'll butcher it, but that's okay. That's okay. We got it right for the show, so that's important. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for reaching out, and thank you for coming on to the show. We're super excited to have you, and I'm so excited to learn all about you and your business over there at GLEAC. Saying that right?
That's right.
and
That's right.
uh, and you're going to tell us all. But for our listeners and our viewers, I want to just take a second out to share Sallann's, I guess you would say, bio. And so Sallyann is one of 4% of women globally who have a patent pending method and algorithm for measuring soft skills as a sole inventor. Now, just full transparency, Sallyann, you don't know this about me, so I'm going to share a neat little tidbit with you. But my grandfather, his name was Edward Tyler, and he was actually the inventor of the electric start on cars. So if you start your car up and warm it up or get it ready to go, that invention, I actually have the patent at my house. So it's really neat. And
Really?
that was invented back in the, I want to say, 70s. It was invented in the 70s. It was originally called the electric command start. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's we don't, unfortunately, my family doesn't get any royalties anymore. Wish we did. but but yeah, it's really neat to have that in our family tree for sure.
I think that's
So
awesome. That it's like every time everybody starts their car, they can go, "That's a Janae moment."
yeah, that's right. That's
That's
right.
a Janae
I'll
moment.
take family credit. I'll take family credit. But
Yes,
but for you to be able to, start with, putting out and getting an invention and getting it patented, which I understand is pending. Those things take forever. They are brutal. But congratulations, that's super exciting. And the fact that you put yourself out there to do it is even that much more exciting. But let me finish up the bio here. And I was warned that it's long, so I can't say it all. But Sallyann holds a degree and certifications in law, organizational behavior, and urban planning. She speaks 5 languages. So I guess I can't speak any other languages because you may know what I'm saying. And you're also a published author, so we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. And your education spans all over the globe, from Harvard University, Franklin College, University of Toronto, and you spend most of your days obsessing about GLEAC, her technology company, which measures and develops soft skills. So there's your bio. I said it all. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. It was all right. But wow, what an impressive background. So thank you again for being on the show. So Sally Ann, tell, if you don't mind, share with our guests and our listeners. Tell us all about, more that what your bio doesn't tell us, and then if you can, tell us about GLEAC.
absolutely. So, I think the part I will share with anybody looking at this is that, I'm a female in tech with zero tech background. So I'm going to say this to all your women listeners out there. If I can do it, anybody can do it. That's the first thing. And I come with a big zag in terms of my background. It wasn't, I started off in law as 21-year-old. And if you look at my degrees, it's in urban planning and architecture. And, it's just across the board. But I've always been very passionate, and always as my side hustle hobby, I was doing things around people. Who would have known that I would have had the courage to raise my hand and go, wait a minute, that thing that I'm doing is my side hustle is actually why I'm here in the world.
That's awesome.
And it was this opportunity of saying yes to a company called Kareem. They're the first unicorn in the Middle East. They reached out to me to be their head of people and culture. I had zero background for the role. I got the Harvard degree after. And when they reached out to me, I was like, yeah, my curiosity and my badasseriness is high. And I said,
Love it.
absolutely, I'll take the role. And it's what brought me close to tech, right? These are two McKinsey Stanford boys just doing incredible work. And I think the proximity to people and things of is the evolution of who we become. And Gleek in many ways is me giving that journey to everyone. What is GLEAC? It's 500 plus of the world's leading experts that helps you problem solve, learn, and innovate. And I deliver them to you off of my technology platform in the app. You can learn, and every time you learn, you get how to see how the 5 experts handle the same situation. You can connect with them live. Um, Last year, I dropped the first NFT collection tokenizing time. So you got
Wow.
25 of the world's best. I'm talking like Nobel Peace Prize winners and like people you think you could never in your life access. And you not only got 5 hours with them, Scott, but you got any conversation you had, any invention or innovation, you both got to co-own the patent
Wow.
that came out of
Wow.
those
Well, that's
conversations. Yeah,
huge.
that's
Holy
huge. Huge.
smokes.
And then I allowed you to build community with them. So just imagine on speed dial, you have,
Yeah.
the head of innovation off, or, the CEO off, or, I mean, and I'm talking about, the president of Cleveland Clinic, all the way to the head of innovation to Siemens globally, to the original Bell Labs data scientists with, I mean, you name it, we had them on there. And this month, I'm launching and dropping Mentor GPT, where we took all of our experts who feed the platform with insights, and we created this pretty cool way that you can ask Chat GPT anything you want, and then we show you how humans with contrarian, obscure thinking and knowledge, how they would handle the same situation. So really excited about that. So it's been a zag, Scott. It is not, if you asked me 5 years ago, would I have a technology company? Would I have had a patent? Would I be scaling? Would I have been raising money with investors and raised already? I would have absolutely said, "What are you smoking?"
So So what's amazing about this is like Chat GPT and all that. It is everywhere. Like AI, Chat GPT. I mean, it in NFT, and there's a lot of confusion behind a
Yeah.
lot of understanding. And someone like me, even I'm in the tech space. I always joke like God's punishment to me was getting in the tech space because I knew nothing about tech, and my background is way completely different than yours. In fact, I don't even have a high school diploma or a GED. I dropped out when I was 16. I
Mm,
always said school is in my way, but I didn't plan on being an attorney or a doctor. And
yeah.
so there's a lot of requirements to get the to be an attorney, and I want my attorney to have a degree for sure.
Yeah.
But with with me like being in this tech space and with ChatGPT, are you seeing that ChatGPT is just going to? So I read this post, and maybe this will be a good pivot to this, is that it said that a lot of people are worried about ChatGPT is going to be removing jobs, but then he says I actually, and this was the CEO I think of Entrepreneur Magazine, and he said that he actually believes that it's going to add jobs. Well,
Yeah.
what's your thought on that? And tell us, like, can you give our viewers and listeners just an overview of Chat GPT for those who don't understand what that is? Give them
Mhm.
some understanding of that, and
Absolutely.
also if you can touch a little bit on NFT because I think that that's something to pay attention to as well.
Okay, cool. So let me start on the simple one, which is NFTs that we dropped last year. And, I'll explain what NFTs are. And I think your audience is going to love this explanation. So people confuse it first. They think it's art.
Mhm. I
NFT is code,
agree.
right? NFT is code, and a code is just like language.
Okay.
It's so for those of you who don't know tech, writing English, Spanish, French, that's language. Code is the language we use to write technology. NFTs is simply code that attaches things to blockchain. That is
Okay.
all NFTs are. And then the next question is, well, what the hell is blockchain? Blockchain
Going down this
is
foxhole. Here we go.
no, but we're gonna stop very quick. Blockchain is just like a notebook, perfect notebook. You can't scratch anything out, and you can't rip pages out of it.
Mm,
So then it becomes an obvious question: what are the types of things that I want to keep forever
mhm.
to attach onto blockchain? And the first thing, it's what everybody knows about, is currency, right? Like, so you
Yeah.
want the history of currency, because that's why, we have, Bitcoin and Ethereum on blockchain, because certainly you want the history. You don't want it disappearing. You
Sure.
have X number. The next thing is art, because art has, that's the, historically, art is money, right?
Yeah.
That's how people move money. So the provenance of art. So that's why you see the whole blowout of art in
Yeah.
NFTs and blockchain. And for me, I looked at it and I go, wait a minute. What about human ingenuity and wisdom and the fact
Mm,
that we exist? That is something that I
right.
want to tokenize, right? Because, and that's the whole reason why I brought the whole idea of, well, how it's not the degrees that make a human wise. I mean, Scott, you don't have any. And listen, the fact that I have doesn't make me superior to anyone. A degree has zero value today
Well,
in
I
terms
don't
of,
know. I'm very much in awe in your presence because you are a very phenomenal woman, and I am enjoying being able to be on this podcast with you because yeah, it's amazing your background. Sorry.
I appreciate that wholeheartedly. That was very sweet of you. Hold on, your wife did good.
Yeah. Hopefully she'll hear this one. Hopefully she'll listen to this one. She's like, I hear you enough. I'm not listening to your podcast. No, I'm just kidding. She does listen to 'em.
So that being said, I would say to you that, I looked at human ingenuity and wisdom, and everything about GLEAC and what we do. And then I will talk to your audience about ChatGPT, because it goes into, it's the same,
Sure.
line of thought. I truly believe that every single human has a right to be included at the table, not because of where they come from, not because of what
Amen.
school and background they have, not because of their degrees, not because of what they have, but pure human ingenuity. And those
Amen.
are the
Love it.
skills like creativity, critical thinking, entrepreneurial mindset, judgment and decision making, leadership. That's why I built a whole company around pure human wisdom and ingenuity. And you can't see it until you see somebody in a situation acting it out. And you
Right.
see that, you know it when you see it. So it's not like you can bring a certificate in communication and leadership and go, I'm very good at that. Like,
Yeah.
no, you might be the worst at it. You might just be good at remembering stuff and taking tests.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so
Very true.
I have to see you in situations, and not only you alone. I have to see you in a situation compared to other people because then I can pinpoint right away and go, darn, look at Scott there. Like, right? I'm like,
No one has
he is.
ever said that, so thank you. I'll take
so so let's get now to chat gpt based off of that. So I deeply care about inclusion at a core. We all arrived in this world with this unique combination of hot sauce. And we just don't have a way to signal that because most of us don't have networks and opportunities,
right.
and it's not the degrees that allow us to do that. Now here's ChatGPT that comes, and ChatGPT is basically collective, I call it collective sheep wisdom.
Okay.
so
I
it
like this.
is so it is the collective mass of what the average think. And you can put in any kinds of questions, and I think certainly it is brilliant from the fact that certainly the collective of millions of us is way better than the collective of one of us, right? So
Sure. Sure.
from that standpoint, it can show you your blind spots, hidden areas, questions you should be asking, and the best questions. The best thing you can do on ChatGPT for all of your listeners is not actually use it like Google and ask it a question. You actually put in a situation in it and go, what should I be asking? And let it give
Mm,
you the questions, because the
yeah.
quality of the questions is actually what is, what's the bling, right? In any
Yeah.
conversation, in any way you're going, it is not the answer. It's the question. People who ask brilliant questions let you know, oh, they're thinking, oh, they spotted that, oh, they didn't. So this is, I think, where my entire workflow has changed. I think I've been on Google like maybe 5% of the time. I took a
Oh,
chat
wow.
GPT. Yeah, I
Ooh,
took a
don't
chat
tell
GPT.
don't tell Google that. That's what they're worried about.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I
honestly.
yeah, I took a chat GPT accelerator class that was brilliant, maybe about 40 days ago, 60 days ago already. My entire life shifted, my workflow. I am so bloody efficient now. And hold on, like I read this stuff and I'm just like, darn it, I'm brilliant.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Right? Like it's just, but it's Chat GPT allowing you to see your blind spots and hidden areas that in your tiny, minute brain by yourself, because you have so much bias and groupthink and all kinds of stuff, you don't see it. So
Yeah.
I think that's the good thing about Chat GPT. Now, getting to the second part of your question, are people going to lose jobs? The answer is yes, right? I mean, I had to let go 2 employees last week because we were on a 6 month AI learning sprint and they couldn't keep up with the rest of the team, and their
Right.
jobs now can 90% be done by AI, right?
Right.
So people who do not want to learn, and I now call it, instead of just having hard skills and soft skills, you have to have hard skills, soft skills, and AI enabled skills.
Interesting.
Everybody needs to have AI enabled skills because if you have it, you are going to be a force to reckon with.
Great.
So
Now I'm
people are
motivated.
going to lose
I
jobs.
I know I have some homework tonight. Thanks,
Yeah.
Sallyann. But so what you said, this is extremely fascinating to me. And I think I love what you said. You got to, asking the right questions, or not the right questions, just asking questions, asking good questions. And I've always said, God gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason, to listen,
Mhm.
more than necessarily talking, which is hard for me on a podcast. So but what you had me thinking about was how do people react in certain situations is going to be different, and a degree or test taking is not going to necessarily teach that in live application. And so I was thinking about our military, right? They go through all this training, but until they're in war, they don't know exactly how someone's going to react in that moment. And so had me thinking about, with chat gpt too, and now bridging over to employees, and asking the right questions, and who's going to be kind of left behind, so to speak, is, you're absolutely right, are going to be the ones who are not willing to go and learn. And I share that with my
Yeah.
staff all the time. I use this phrase where I say that there's defensive learning and there's offensive learning. And when you're
Mhm.
defensively learning, it means that the problem has come to you, and you have to figure out how to solve that problem. That's a defensive learning. You got to learn.
Sure.
Or you could be offensively learning, like, how do I to how do I prevent that problem from ever happening in the first place? And so
Yeah.
I try to teach my staff all the time, like, hey, we've got to be offensive and in always learning. In Chat GPT, I know with Magazine Jukebox, there's a little bit of that. And what's so I was at a MACMA conference, which is it's a conference for content essentially, and it's the
Mhm.
specialist. And they were talking about Chat GPT, and they were talking about brands and how important brands are. Like it's almost like a reemerging of necessity for brands because people need to go to places that they trust.
Mhm.
And so ChatGPT, I think there'll be a lot of confusion out there because people can, like anything in the world, they could take advantage of it. And
Mhm.
so there's going to be good characters and bad characters. And so you go to the brand that you can trust. And I remember watching this first commercial I've ever seen, and or I'm sorry, it was a show. I think it was like Dateline, and they literally put a disclaimer on at the end of it and says that this show was recorded with humans and not no AI. And I thought that was really fascinating, right? Like so I almost wonder, is there going to have to be a disclaimer to protect brands
Yeah.
or whatnot? But that's super fascinating. So tell me, so Sallyann, like with Gleek, like tell me about like what's an ideal client then? Like so who would want to come and seek your business out, and why would they why what can they expect from their initial interaction with Gleek?
Absolutely. So, we focus on three particular um, verticals in the company. And right now, one of them that is really exciting, I think you would like this one, is events around the world
Mm,
are coming to us to tokenize and create NFTs of the speakers and the audience so that beyond the event, we build community and they can continue talking and getting to know each other through
super
NFTs.
fascinating.
So that's a really cool one where,
Yeah.
just think about how many events we, as I said, we have 500, so we can put all the speakers up for any kind of, event that's out there, you name it, from AI to, the most random niche thing
Yeah.
that's out there. And just imagine how many times if you've gone to an event, you pay tons of money to go to the event, you go there, you listen to the speaker, you don't get the opportunity to ask a question. There are all kinds of cool people there at the event. You want to have conversations on a particular talk, and it's lost. And
Mm,
imagine all of that now is locked into an NFT, over the next year from the event. So pre-event, everybody's already in community with the speakers and the experts. Post-event, there is learning, there's all kinds of things, impact happening. So we have COP28 happening here in the UAE, in Dubai at the end of the year, and that's that's all the everything green and sustainable in the world, and that's our a huge one for us, where we're
yeah.
token, and we will be able to measure impact over the year of what happened with people with maybe they might do businesses together, maybe they might solve the, carbon neutral. So that's one of our vertical. A second vertical that we have is we do a service layer of industry experts on learning, marketplaces. So like if you go to Udemy and Coursera
Mhm.
and corporate academies. So imagine you go on a, Udemy or Coursera and all you see are courses right now. But imagine if you saw the industry experts who was explaining, got interviewed on what kind of job they did and what came into play, and courses got populated off of that. And as you are learning, you earn tokens to now get access to them and build community and networks with them. So,
Fascinating. This
so
is
we do like,
absolutely fascinating. Like this,
yeah, so it's very cool stuff that we're
yeah, what a
doing.
great opportunity though. Like, I mean, like, there's so many, and the thing is that there's so many great speakers out there and, relatively famous people or whatever that they want to hear that like I always say they want to hear from the person in the back row raising their hand.
Mhm.
But they
Mhm.
never get that opportunity to because they have to
Absolutely.
go through all the front row first. And but the
Absolutely.
person in the back row can't afford the front row. But now it's almost like it's like an equalizer, allowing everybody to have an opportunity, or
Yeah.
at least a bigger majority to have an opportunity to
Yeah.
talk.
That's
So
what I said to you. Inclusion is a huge part
yeah,
of, what we do. And then, the third level of clients are big companies, right? So big
sure.
companies come to us and they kind of say, we want all of our employees to, have the best. We've had governments come to us and just buy experts to sit as a cloud on
Wow.
their boards, on their teams, and go, you know
I mean,
what? The
yeah.
fastest way for them to solve stuff is to talk, even if it's we have 2 competitors who own some of the biggest digital banks in the world. They will not talk to each other, these, founders and CTOs, unless they're working a gig together
Oh my
for
god.
GLEAC.
Yeah.
And the reason they come to GLEAC, is other than, I clearly the things we do for money is we power globally UNICEF, the Yoma platform. We power Jaio. So millions and millions of people get to hear the insights,
Yeah.
who don't have access, and we get to help them with those insights through our app and through APIs we give them to plug in and learn and have access to opportunity. So our experts love the dual side of what we do, impacting the bottom of the pyramid and also being able to work on some of the coolest stuff in the world with each other.
Gosh, Sally Ann, you should have warned me. Like, we should have set up an hour and a half podcast. 'Cause I can literally go for. I mean, we're gonna have to get you back on the show down the road because, we try to always limit our show to what I like to call bandwidth, but I just want to keep talking to you because this is super fascinating and I love it. I absolutely love what you guys are doing. And I love, even more than that, I love knowing that now I can come to Dubai and you'll be able to help walk me
Absolutely.
around. That would be great. Thank you. Well, what this is okay, so tell me, if you can in a elevator speech, so to speak, and I know you've talked, we talked a little bit about, the who would be reaching out to you, but if there was a someone you're trying to reach and someone we can tag and bring into this, who would that company or who would that tag be? And I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, so I want to make sure I give you a minute or, to think about this. But who could that be? And of course, my audience, you never know. I am a firm believer of the 7 degrees of separation. That someone knows someone. I remember when I was at the MACMA meeting, I got to meet Jim, the co-founder of Square, net
Mhm.
worth of $1.5 billion. And, and it was just all about because I knew, because of my relationships with my publishers, and I knew, Bill Hurst or Bill Hurst, Bill Carter over at Hearst. He probably wishes his last name was Hurst, but they, but yeah. So and I was invited by Bill. So I just who would that person be, or what company would that be, or what demographic would that be exactly, so that way we know how to reach out to them for you.
Sure. So I would say, and I'll give you, two kind of verticals. So in America, right now, there's so many people who do not have jobs, and there's a big dysfunction of how job boards don't know how to actually get them the right fit and to signal their readiness. So, and there are all kinds of workforces and agencies across, the
Lots,
U.S. that
lots.
are
Yep.
work,
Yep.
but all siloed, all kind of doing programming. And you know what? People is what brings opportunity. 75% of jobs are filled through networks.
Hmm.
And you cannot put people to go learn on their own. They need to have proximity to people who've been there and done that to light that spark for them to believe it's possible for them. So on our impact side, I would love somebody who sees all over all of that in terms of all the states and going, how do we? That would be on the impact side. And then on the the for-profit side for my my deep experts and mentors, it's normally R&D or
Mm.
significant boards who are really looking at innovation at a
Yep.
big systems level. So our NFT collection was bought by the Saudi government, right? I
Wow.
want you to think about that, right? So at government levels, we can, we have, the head of AI for NVIDIA, we have Nobel Peace Prize winners, we have the head of innovation at Siemens, you name it. We have the
Yep.
best in the world, and we can really make them available for R&D and government and boards to be able to shift. So I would say that would be, if there's anybody listening who, who's aligned, like,
Right.
please, I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have someone. We'll talk off air, but I have
Yeah.
someone. It's actually more of a collective ecosystem that some of the leaders in that up in the DC area that I think that like to get you connected to. But well, Sally Ann, all good things must come
Yes.
down to an end. And you have been a fantastic guest, so much information. And I apologize to our listeners and guests that we just don't have enough time to really keep going. But I would like to bring you back on. But before we really say officially goodbye, we do this thing where it's called Pick Your Poison. It's really, would you rather? And this is a fun part of our show. So I'm going to cue up some music here. But Sallyann, thank you. This has been a great
Thank
show.
you.
And
Thank
this
you.
has been so much fun. And so let me kick this off. So okay. Well, like I promised you, if something was inappropriate, I'm gonna move the card away. So okay. That one was inappropriate. Okay, so let's see. Okay, all right. This one's weird. Okay, so here, and I apologize, but I don't have any choice in these. So this
Okay,
is
fine. Fine,
I
fine,
don't
fine.
have any choice. Okay, first one is have fingers as long as your forearms. So
Okay.
you have to have
Yeah.
fingers as long as your forearms, or have a small stream of chocolate pudding constantly coming from your ear. These are bad. These are not good ones. But
Oh my
which
gosh.
I know both of those are bad. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm
Sometimes
gonna go with small stream of chocolate pudding from your ears.
all right. I think I'm gonna go with the long fingers. I don't know. I feel like I could then reach my computer from a distance. I don't know.
Can I tell you something? Because chocolate solves everything.
It does. Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. Okay. So, all right. These are bad today. Oh my goodness. I'm like discarding these. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is it. This is the last card that I'm gonna pull, and I can't pull anymore. Okay. Oh, this one. Okay. So never travel further than 10 miles from your home again. Or have the police release a sketch of a murder suspect that looks exactly like you.
Hmm.
So you can't leave your
Um,
home. You can't go further than 10 miles from your home
yeah,
ever again. Or someone releases a sketch, a bad person, and it looks just like you.
I would say release the sketch. I love to travel and adventure, so that's like not happening. Like
I,
not happening.
I say bring it on. Bring it on. Put the sketch out there. That is too funny. Those were some weird cards, and I am super sorry
Don't
that
worry about it. It's
but
okay.
that was great. Well, look, Sallyann, thank you so much. For all of our viewers and listeners, go to GLEAC, which is GLEAC.com, GLEAC.com, and type in Sallyann, Sallyann, and last name Della Casa. Did I say that right? Did I get it right? All right, I did. All right, awesome. Well, hey, look, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been great. And to all of our viewers and listeners, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.